Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Tuesday today. So the markets were actually open today. Miners were trading, but they didn't trade that well. They were down today. Bitcoin was down also. We'll take a look at what happened there. We got a couple stories that we have to talk about as well. We got Hive providing an update for their business operations. We also have an update from Mara. We'll look at those too. We have, I think, two good stories as well, other than those for Bitcoin adoption here. And then we'll get into the miner short data that we have as of January 31st. Still waiting on the data to come in for February 15th, but that's going to be for another week or so, I'm guessing. All right, but that's all we got for today. Let's take a look at what we got going on. But first, not financial advice, as always, for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's get into what we got going on here with Bitcoin today. It didn't have a good day. Well, it could have been worse. Let's just leave it at that. Today could have been definitely a lot worse than what it is. So Bitcoin definitely came back down today. It was down to a low of $93,333.00. Nice even number there. Oh, not even number, but just a 933333. So we went down to that. We came close to our bottom of the wedge here that I drew a couple of weeks back now, which was a good sign here. We bounced pretty much close to the bottom here and we went back up. We did this a couple times as well back here on the 3rd of February. We did it back here as well on January 13th as well. So far our wedge is holding true. We're still trading sideways basically on Bitcoin. We're down a little bit from where we were just about a week ago or so, but we're still going sideways on it, looks like. And Bitcoin finished out the day being down 0.18%, which it could have been worse, right? But the miners didn't do well today. MicroStrategy didn't do well either. So where did we end up today? We ended up at $95,607.40 on the close for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up a little bit here in the new day for Wednesday. It's up just 0.12%, not much happening there right now. But MicroStrategy was down 1.1%. That one's also trading sideways, kind of similar to what Bitcoin is doing here. You can see kind of a wedge happening here with it as well, similar to what Bitcoin is. Bitfarms was down 1.41% here on the day. BitDeer was down as well quite a bit, 8.91%. Surprised by that a little bit. Cypher was down 2.64%. Cleanspark was down 4%. I mean, you can see all these guys, they're all trading kind of sideways right now along with Bitcoin. CORZ was down 0.96%. Hive was down 1.4%. Hut 8 was down 3.37%. IREN was down just a little bit, 0.31%. Mara was down 5%. Riot was down 5.79%. Wolf was down 3.29%, and the smaller miners were down also, with Argo being down the most, 7.59%, followed by Digital down 4.49%, and Digihost down 4.18%, and it looks like Stronghold was the only one that was actually up 0.9% on that. ETFs were down as well, all of them, BitQ, BKCH, DAP, WGMI, they were all down. And then what else do we have here that's kind of interest to take a look at? Canon was down 2.23%. Applied was actually up 5.71%. Trumpcoin was up just a little bit. Tesla was down. Galaxy was down. Nvidia was up just a little bit here. Griffin was down 5.22%. It's at 33 cents here right now. So not a good day for the miners. All right. Bitcoin here for the month of February right now is down still 6.36%. We got roughly what? 10 days left in the month left for February. We'll see if we can get a green month out of it or not. Right now, it's not looking too good for it, but we'll see where we end up at. Next here is going to be just a couple quick things on Bitcoin adoption here. I thought this was pretty good news here. So Google Web3 lead is working to improve Bitcoin wallets experience. Google has entered the chat basically. This is good news for Bitcoin adoption and all that stuff. If they can make it easier for people to use, that's all good for us. And then we got also Michael Saylor continuing on with his tradition of getting convertible notes. So Strategy announces proposed private offering of $2 billion of convertible senior notes. Well, what are they going to use that for? Obviously, they're going to use that to buy more Bitcoin. So they're going to stack more Bitcoin, get it off the exchanges, get it off wherever they're buying it from, probably from OTC. And that's going to be a good thing because, well, less volatility, less to trade, might put a little bit of a pressure on it to go up potentially. We'll see how much they buy, but they're doing that for sure. And then a couple two stories that we do have here, which is the first one's going to be on Hive here. Hive Digital Technologies welcomes Craig Tavares as President and Chief Operating Officer of Buzz HPC to lead growth in HPC and GPU cloud services. This was from yesterday. I missed it, so we're talking about it today. But here's what we got. So Hive is excited to announce the appointment of Craig Tavares as President and Chief Operating Officer of Buzz HPC, where he will lead the GPU cloud and high-performance computing data center business. So they're keeping that kind of separate, or at least a little bit separate from the regular Bitcoin mining side of things. And then this is a little bit about Tavares here. He's got 20 years of experience in digital infrastructure. He began his career by helping develop a metro fiber network and an internet service provider, Toronto Hydro Telecom. He later joined Cogeco, where he held leadership roles in engineering, operations, and product management and technology strategy, managing a portfolio of 20 global data centers, public clouds, IP/MPLS networks, and HPC hosting services. And then at Aptum, he launched a global cloud business and secured partnerships with Microsoft, Amazon Web Services. And then at Apple, Tavares led product and program strategy for third-party clouds and Apple's data centers. He co-founded Kingston Cogen, a portfolio of power plants where he led M&A and corporate development, and he built one of North America's first HPC data centers directly connected to a power plant. So he's got some cred there. He's got definitely experience in the field, which I believe this is going to be a good get for them. We'll see how he does to help them grow their HPCI business, but this is good. And we're seeing this obviously in a lot of companies doing this where they're going for both Bitcoin mining and HPC. This is no different here. Hive does have a little bit of a HPC business right now. It's generating, I think, like roughly, I think it's like $2.5 million a quarter for them right now. So it's not a lot, but it is something. And we'll see if they can grow that even further. The only question is, where would they grow that? They have operations in Canada, Iceland, I think, or somewhere around there. And where else? Paraguay is another spot that they have locations as well. So we'll see. Maybe they're going to target the United States more a little bit with getting data centers or something like that. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Okay. Next here is Mara. So Mara provides a little update here on their wind farm that they purchased or were purchasing. They actually finalized the deal today. So Mara Holdings announces closing of Texas wind farm acquisition. Today they have closed its previously announced acquisition of a wind farm in Hansford County, Texas, with 240 megawatts of interconnection capacity and 114 megawatts of nameplate wind capacity. And this is really good. I talked about it when the news actually came out, but it was probably about a month or two now ago. This is good. The site will utilize last generation ASIC mining hardware that would have otherwise been written off or sold into the secondary market by repurposing machines and energizing them with 100% renewable, zero marginal energy cost. Mara is leveraging renewable resources that would have otherwise been curtailed, reducing Bitcoin production costs through vertical integration and demonstrating the commitment to environmental stewardship. This is great, right? You have older generation machines that are like the whatever those are going to be, S19s or something like that, S19 Pros, which are 100, 140 terahash, whatever those might be. You can put those in those facilities and power them that way and basically get free wind energy. The only thing that's free about it is the energy part of it, but you still have to do some upkeep on the wind farms themselves. You have to do preventive maintenance on those things, change out the oils, things like that, keep them up. So there's some costs associated with it, but not much. So that was good there. And then this is a quote from CEO Fred Thiel here. The closing of this acquisition represents a significant milestone in Mara's ongoing transformation as we expand our asset base following our strategic shift from an asset-light to an asset-heavy business model, said Fred Thiel, Mara's chairman and CEO. With this added renewable energy asset, Mara now owns and operates 136 megawatts of generating capacity, strengthening our position across the entire energy generation and Bitcoin mining process. This acquisition not only extends the economic life of our ASIC miners, but also drives reduction in operational costs, bringing us closer to achieving net or near net zero operating costs. We are proud to revitalize this renewable energy asset, further underscoring our commitment to sustainability and long-term value creation. So this is good. I think this is a great way to, extend the life out of these older machines because typically you get about 2 or 3 years out of them. And if you can extend that by having them operate in, close to zero basically costs for electricity and things like that, you can definitely extend the life a lot longer for those things, probably for another 3 years or 4 years even, depending how they are set up and everything else. And but this is good. This is really good on them to do that. I'd like to see other companies do this as well, something similar like this, because this definitely does help out in the long run on it. All right, so that's it for that one. And finally, let's get into the latest short data that we have on the miners here. I pulled this in today, and I've also updated the number of shares float for all these guys here today as well. Let me see, where is it at? Did I miss it already? Dilution forward, I think I might have missed it. Yeah, I think I went too far. Monthly, where is it at? Where did I put that? It should be under shorts. Shorted, there it is. Okay. So here's the latest data that we do have on these guys. Like I said, we're waiting on the latest data that's going to be coming out for February 15th. Data that's gathered and acquired. Once that does come out, we'll do that probably next week sometime. I think that'll come out, so we'll get even better data or more recent data on it. But here's what we have. So currently number of shares shorted. Marathon, the most shorted here based on the number of shares, 78.3 million, followed by Cleanspark with 74.36 million. Then you got Riot at 66.87, followed by Bitfarms at 64.4, and CORZ at 42 million. So those are like the top 5 there as far as shares, number of shares at least being shorted. When you look at the percentage of average floated shares, it looks a little bit different then. You got Cleanspark at 27.32% being shorted here. That's the highest it's been here in a while. Marathon at 23.58, Riot at 20.96. Then you got Bitfarms at 17.6, CORZ at 17.22, BitDeer at 16.7, Hut at 12.85%, IREN at 11.42, and then Cypher at 10%, and Hive only at 3.49%. Kind of interesting there. They're one of the ones that are the most undervalued out of all these guys here, if you look at enterprise value and things like that. But they're also the least shorted here, which is kind of interesting to see that. Share shorted versus value versus the market cap here. So Marathon has a market cap of about 5 billion, 5.1 billion, I guess you could say, and their share shorted value is about 1.2. That's the highest amount there, followed by then Cleanspark, right, which is 2.8 billion in market cap, and it's 773 million shares shorted. Riot at 805 million shares, value shares shorted there with 3.8 billion market cap, followed by CORZ at 3.5, almost 3.4, 3.5 billion in market cap, with $595 million worth of shares shorted there. You can see how everybody else stacks up there as well. Number of shares shorted changed from last time. So IREN had an increase of 4.61 million shares from last time. So the last time we did it was probably 2 weeks ago. That's definitely quite a bit of shares being shorted there. I think that is mainly because they came out with a 1 billion ATM. I think that's the only reason that I can think of right there. Bitfarms, an increase of 2.8 million shares. I think that is because of, well, one might be that they are reducing their hash rate growth for the end of the first half, right? So I think that might be the reason for that. Cypher was up 2.69 million shares shorted. Hive only 1.14. Then BitDeer 0.94. Then we can see actually Marathon came down 3.56 million shares. Cleanspark was down 1.83 million shares. Riot was down 1.61 million shares as well. And CORZ was down 0.45 million shares on that. So kind of interesting to see that. Looking at the percentage change in shares shorted from last review, we can see that IREN is up 28% in right, the number of shares shorted, changed from the prior month. Hive is up 26.89%. Cypher up 12.59%. Hut is only up 1%. Bitfarms is up 4.6%. CORZ up 1%. Riot 2%. BitDeer up 6.8%. Marathon was down 4.3%. And Cleanspark was down 2.4%. And then here's the price change percentage from 12 weeks ago. So looking back 3 months ago, basically, where were the prices then and where have the miners gone? Well, miners haven't done too great. Marathon's down 38%, Bitfarms is down 34%, Hive is down 30% along with CORZ, Hut 8 is down 26.9, almost 27 there, along with Cleanspark down 26.8, and you got Cypher only being down 9.6, IREN only 3.7, Riot only 3%, and BitDeer actually being the only one that's up here in the last 12 weeks, 15.6% on it. So definitely interesting to take a look at how that has stacked up. And here is their historical values as far as how much they're being shorted. Every 2 weeks, basically, the data is coming in here. So that's going back all the way to April of last year. BitDeer, you can see definitely we've seen a huge increase in BitDeer, number of shares being shorted there. We saw in Bitfarms as well, right, from 26 million here all the way to 64 million, almost a 3x in number of shares being shorted. Cypher only about a 2x from 13 million to 24 million. Then we got Cleanspark here from 31 to 74, 2x on that as well. CORZ from 7.4 to 42. What is that? That's basically like a 6 to 8x on it. Increase in shares being shorted. Hive is actually lower than they were. They've been kind of flat, more or less, around 5 million to 3 million, something like that, all across the past year, more or less. Hut, same thing, is actually up just a little bit from where it started in April. Then you got IREN was at 4.2, they're at 20, that's about a 5x, 4 to 5x on that. Marathon was at 52 million in April, now they're at 78, so not even a full 2x on it, 1.5x or something like that on them. And then finally, Riot here was at 34 million shares. Now that's 66, so almost a double, almost a 2x the amount of shares shorted. So that's what's really driving the miners here is their underperformance. A lot of these guys, at least, is the amount of shares that are shorted there by institutions that are hedging their bets on Bitcoin or MicroStrategy, whatever it might be, or others, and then they're attacking the miners, going short on those guys. And we can definitely see that in the increase in number of shares being shorted. And then also in comparison to the average float. So that's all the data that I have on these guys here. On it, we'll get this updated again next week, possibly when we get the data for February 15th, right? We should get that data next week, I believe, sometime at least. So we'll cover that again. We'll see how that has updated on that. I like looking at this because it definitely tells us a little bit as far as which way the institutions are going. Are they attacking more or kind of reducing their positions a little bit here. So we have seen some reduction in the miners here, Marathon, Cleanspark, Riot, and Core. Others have actually had an increase here. So we'll see how that plays out for the miners here going forward. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Let's get into Q&A side of things here. Should be an easy day today. So as always, if you guys could preface your questions with a question mark or Q, that lets me know that's a question. And give me a couple. I don't want that one. Sorry. Wrong button next to it. I need this button, Q&A. So let's take a look at what's going on here with the questions. I'm going to scroll up a little bit and see if I haven't missed any questions. If not, I don't see too many comments or questions. So it's going to be a light day today. Let's see here. JK says, hi, and longtime viewer, first time commenter. So, hey, thank you so much for being a longtime viewer and commenting here. Let's see. Martin C says, let's hope today was the cycle low and we can start moving up again. That would be nice. I would love to see that. Let's see, y'all think Cleanspark call for $12 will hit this week? You're looking, does it expire this week at $12? If it does, that might be kind of tough. Cleanspark's at, what's it at? 10.08. I mean, you're looking at going up $2 to $2 in price. That would be from here to 12.06. That would be basically 20% gains. I don't think that might be the case unless Bitcoin really starts going up here, like within the next couple of days here. So I would not bet on that. All right, let's see. I said 12 U.S. states invest 330 million in strategy stock for Bitcoin exposure. Why invest in strategy instead of the ETFs? I think because the ETFs just basically follow Bitcoin. You get a 1-on-1 basically on those. Whereas strategy will get a 2x, a 3x on top of the Bitcoin that they have there. So I think it's just it's a proxy play. It's a leverage play on Bitcoin. That's the only reason I could think of why they would do that. So, yeah. Okay. Looks like it's pretty light. So I don't see any other questions, you guys. If you guys have any other questions, we'll call it a day. This is probably going to be the quickest show we've done in a long time. Going on only 18 minutes, 20 minutes or so. So that is going to be okay with me. All right, we got LB here with a question. Thinking of going all in Hive and Cleanspark. Only your thoughts? Thanks. I definitely like Cleanspark. You know that for a fact. I own Cleanspark. I also own IREN. Hive, I like what they're doing here recently, right? Moving to the United States. They're getting to 25 exahash by the end of the third quarter. So that's great. That's definitely really good growth for them. They're at 6 exahash right now. They're working towards their HPCI deals as well. We'll see if they can get anything out of that. So, I mean, they're doing all the right things. The only thing that recently that I still don't really like is their cost to mine Bitcoin. Seems a little high, right? Based on the numbers that they provided here for Q4 for them. They came in at, and I talked about this yesterday as well. They were at, where's it at? Here it is for Hive. Cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation, right? It's been going up here last 4 quarters. Don't really like seeing that. That's a little bit concerning here. Yes, they're at 6 exahash. They've improved their joules per terahash efficiency across the whole mining farm there, which is good, but they still really need to get that down on the cost. So hopefully with the sites that they got from Bitfarms in Paraguay. Hopefully they have pretty good costs there as well for electricity. They could lower things, and as long as they put in better machines in there, the more efficient S21s or something like that, that should help out. But that is going to be, that's going to lead to dilution and or some of their HODL being sold off as well to fund that growth from basically 6 exahash to 24 exahash. They're going to have to pay for it somehow on that. So you can see that they sold off a little bit here in January, about 250 Bitcoin. That's valued at what? What is that valued at? Roughly 25 million? Yeah, 25 million, roughly, more or less. So that's the only concern that I would have here with Hive. And I owned Hive from 2017 through when did I sell that? 2023, I think I sold it. It's just because of their lack of growth, but I'm definitely liking the growth that they have here. So Hive would be questionable for me. They are way undervalued compared to all the other miners. If we look at the enterprise metrics on these guys, I mean, you can see here for future hash rate growth, they're valued at 21, right? I still don't have them at the full 25 exahash because I don't know what they're buying. They haven't reported buying anything yet to get to that. So I think this is based on them being at, what is that going to be for them? Not high. There we go. I think that's for them getting to 10 exahash. So if we increase that to 25, they're going to be even more undervalued when you look at it on that compared to some of the other miners here as well. So we really need Bitcoin to go up in order for some of these guys that are down here like Bitfarms, IREN, Cleanspark, Marathon, even Riot, I would say, to do very well going forward. But that's just my 2 cents on it. All right, let's go back here to the Q&A. Let's see, Manu has a question here as well. Have you heard anything about Bitfarms or Riot getting an AI customer? I have not. We know that Riot is definitely looking for something like that. I don't know when they're going to get something like that. I mean, you're either looking to do a deal with probably a hyperscaler for the 600 megawatts because you're not going to get that from a small customer, or a smaller customer is not going to want that much. So you really need something with a hyperscaler. So, I mean, that gives you maybe 5 to 10 companies maybe you can work with that could possibly do that of that size. And there's fierce competition for that too. You got IREN, with almost 2 gigawatts of potential that they can build out as well for HPCI. You got Cypher in there as well. TeraWulf, I think, is pretty much has a deal pretty good right now with somebody, but they do have more megawatts that they can put in there as well. So you got pretty stiff competition there. And it'll be interesting to see who actually gets some kind of a good deal there. You got also Hut in the mix as well. So there's a lot of people doing it, but I haven't heard anything from either one of those. All right. Why do people act surprised that miners are like dead fish when Bitcoin hasn't moved since November? This seems so unrealistic. Yeah, I mean, I can't agree with you there, right? We can't expect the miners to do well when Bitcoin's not doing well. I think the reason people were expecting the miners to do maybe better than what they have done here is because Bitcoin has had a nice run up here from basically October into the end of the year, whereas the miners didn't really follow suit except for maybe a couple. That's the only thing I can think of. Adam has a question as well. Do you think the market is only valuing pure play BTC miners on their net asset value? Companies like Cleanspark and Mara are basically valued on their HODL, assets, cash, and debt. I don't know. I mean, Cleanspark, Mara, Cleanspark is not being really valued on their HODL position if you look at their numbers. We can look at that here really quick. We'll look at Mara first because that's on my list here first. So let's take a look at that one. So Mara here is getting valued right now. 84% of their market cap is their HODL position. So that's kind of crazy there, right? Each share is basically $13.55 of HODL position. So that's crazy. They're definitely not being valued on their operations, or either that they're not being valued on their HODL position and they're being valued on their operations, which, either way, this is ridiculous, I think, on that one. And then if you look at also like IREN doesn't have a HODL position here. Right, where they're being valued at? They're being valued at 2.8. So that's all their operations and maybe future potential with HPC AI. That's being contributed to that as well. And then if you look at Cleanspark here, Cleanspark's only being valued 35%. So definitely a lot lower on the HODL position than what Marathon is. So to me, it would seem like Cleanspark is being valued more so on their operations than on their HODL. Because if you thought things were equal, but then again, also Marathon has a much larger HODL position here. So, yeah, it's just, they're not being valued the way they really should be. All of these guys are undervalued in my opinion right now. So we'll see when they actually start getting valued properly. All right, going back here. What else do we have here? Okay, talked about that one already. Pitt has a question here. I guess Cleanspark is funded up to 50 exahash. Do you think they are going to have another ATM after that? I guess they will have to upgrade the miners after that. Well, they won't have to upgrade the miners until possibly if we have another cycle like before. We're probably not looking for them to start upgrading until maybe towards the end of 2026 into 2027. They could just ride, Bitcoin bull run if we have a similar bull run where Bitcoin tops out at, whatever it's going to be at 200,000, 250,000, whatever it's going to be by the end of this year potentially. If we have a similar cycle like last couple cycles, and then they could ride those machines for a while until they start getting closer to the halving event, and then at that point you have to start looking to possibly change out some of your machines there. All right, let's see what else here. All right, Heinze has a question here as well. What do I need to use to poke my eyes out because of Cleanspark, Riot, and Mara disrespect? Don't do anything to poke your eyes out. You just gotta be patient. Gotta be patient. Let's see. Why is Mara dropping? What's your price prediction before earnings? Before earnings? I mean, the earnings are coming up. When is it? Next week, I think the earnings are coming up for Mara. I think they're gonna have a pretty good quarter for Q4. They should have a positive EPS because of the Bitcoin price going up. They can reevaluate with the FASB rules, so that should help them out. I'm guessing between what did I say for them? I have them between like around $3, I think, somewhere around there for their EPS potentially, depending how much they put in for share-based dilution, share-based compensation, and the depreciation as well on that. So they should have a good quarter. But again, we saw Cleanspark have a good quarter. Its stock went up 18%, and it give it all back within the next couple of days. So we'll see how that one does. All right, let's see. Cleanspark and Mara also have their facilities and equipment that holds value. These also go up when BTC goes up. Thank you again. Yeah, they do go up, right? The values, well, that's one of the things that I've been hearing also is the valuation on their facilities. They're not being valued like a data center, right? Which I can understand not being valued like a tier 3 data center because that takes in so much more capital and everything else to build that out. But they should be, they should be valued at least half of that, I would think, somewhere around there of a traditional data center, because you can go in there and retrofit the facilities if you need to, put in redundancies on power, right? That's easy to do. Put in basically backup generators in there, maybe some battery banks to kind of offset the power between going back into diesel generation. And I mean, fibers, you can possibly easily do that. It's not that easy, but it takes time, but you can do it. So it's not that hard to retrofit some of these facilities. So it's possible to do it. All right. Question, any news on institutional buys? We talked about that yesterday a little bit. We're going to probably look at that tomorrow. I'm going to go through all the miners that I have here and how that has changed over the last time we did it, which was basically a month ago. So we'll see that possibly tomorrow. Let's see, miners need to offer Bitcoin dividends? No, they do not. I disagree with that. They're in growth mode. If Bitcoin goes into a prolonged cycle or an extended cycle where it goes up for the next number of years, at that point, okay, maybe that makes a little bit more sense for them to do that. But right now, we're going off the thesis, the theory, that Bitcoin's going to have a similar cycle like it has in the past, where we're going to have a peak by the end of the year, and then we're going to go into a bear market. All right, so we do not want them giving out dividends yet. They're still in growth mode, in my opinion, and you do not give out dividends at this point, at least. All right, question here. If gold is found missing from Fort Knox, will that be bullish for gold or Bitcoin? Well, I don't think it'd be good for gold. Maybe for Bitcoin at that point, is just you need to have transparency in the system somehow. And Bitcoin gives you that. You can see where everything's at any one point. So that might be a good thing for Bitcoin at that point. Okay, let's see here. Heinze says, at Manu, I think both bullish for gold and Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, I kind of disagree. I think it's maybe good for Bitcoin, but if it's gold's missing in Fort Knox, that's not good. It's like, where the heck did that go? All right, let's see what else do we have here. Okay. Trying to see if there's any other questions. All right, we got a couple of things coming up here. Harrison has a question here. How do you feel about Cleanspark at $10? Do you expect these prices to go any lower or higher? The CEO board just seems to be diluting these. Well, they haven't been diluting the last probably a month or two. They haven't been diluting. They got the convertible notes there. They're fully funded to 50 plus exahash, so I think they're good there. There shouldn't be any dilution happening here. As far as what do I think about $10? I think it's a good entry point if you haven't gotten into it already. Could it go down more? Yes. If Bitcoin goes down, we could definitely see that, right? We talked about this a little bit yesterday or even on Sunday's stream, I think, where Bitcoin historically has like a 30% correction. We've only had about a 17 or 18% correction, I think, here, something like that, or somewhere around there from the top of 109,000. So we could still go down more. And going down more is like going down to like 78,000, which would be like a 30% correction from 109. So I don't discount that from happening yet. Until we actually start going back up. Right now we're trading sideways on Bitcoin, as you can see here on it. So time will only tell, I guess. Mark says, I'm tired, boss. Yeah, I'm tired too a little bit, right? We've been watching these guys here for the past 3 years plus. Got into them at pretty good price points when they were much lower, which is good. But yeah, we definitely want them to start going up and so we can make our money and be out of them for a while. Stefan has a question here as well. Do you think Mara is holding back on mining efficiency, not running all the miners to drive down price for big institutions to buy in low? I hope that's not the case. That would be a crappy reason to do it because they are supposed to be for shareholders, right? They're supposed to be creating shareholder value, not big institution value. So, but those are also shareholders. So, I don't think so. Tom says, I think we just need patience. Yeah, I would agree with you there. Pitt says, I would be a happy camper when Cleanspark hits $27. I think a lot of us would be, especially the people that got into Cleanspark at a higher price, around $23, $20, or $18, right? Those guys would be pretty happy. You'd be in the green at that point. Let's see, question. Fold to become the first Bitcoin-only financial services company to go public on NASDAQ tomorrow. Anyone buying? I've learned my lesson not to buy IPOs. Reason for that is you become basically exit liquidity for people that have been in there for a much longer time. So I'm not, it might do very well. I could be wrong on that one, but I got burned on Coinbase and I got burnt on, what was the other one? Rivian as well. So I'll see how it does after a couple weeks. Okay. The Mara has a shareholder meeting tomorrow and earnings on Monday. How do you feel about entry here? I think the stock is way down from it. Really, it should be. I think it should be much higher. But I thought they postponed the shareholder meeting. Did I miss that? Hold on. I thought there was something about it here. Let's go back to Mara here really quick. Mara. See, I thought I saw something. Mara Holdings, there it is. Postpone special meeting of stockholders. When did they postpone that to? Let's see here. It's loading up right now. At least it's trying to load at least. This is from February 10th. There we go. Okay. Okay. February. Oh, yeah. Okay. So they did move it to virtually live via webcast Wednesday, February 19th. Okay. So that is happening tomorrow. I thought it was postponed even further out. Recommends, let's see, the company's board of directors unanimously recommends that you vote for the proposals identified in the company's proxy statement for the special meeting. Stakeholders who have already, okay. Yeah. All right. You can definitely take a look at what that all entails there. Let's go back here. Let's see. Ready, let's see. Harrison says Reddit was my best IPO. That's going, gosh, when was that? When did that happen? That's been probably, what, 10 years ago, I think? Or am I off on that? The only latest IPO that is up is ARM. Okay. Eric agrees. Void Fold IPO. I use their debt credit services. It's okay. They need to keep improving. Okay. Manu says IPO, it's probably overpriced. Yeah. That's a good acronym for it. Let's see, Harrison, they are increasing total outstanding shares. Mara, yes, I believe that they are. Last year was Reddit IPO. I thought it was further back. For some reason, I've been hearing about Reddit for a long time, but I never really followed it. But yeah. All right, we'll call it a day. We're getting into the weeds here on a lot of the stuff here. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll get into some other stuff as well.
see where that takes us. We'll look at the institutions for basically the last month. How did that improve or not improve for some of the miners, and whatever else comes up tomorrow as well. So greatly appreciate you guys coming in as always. It's never fun when we're having a red day on Bitcoin or the miners as well. I definitely enjoy the green days more. I'm sure you guys do as well. But thank you so much for coming in. Greatly appreciate you guys. Love you all. Hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.